So, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, in what time zone around the world. A very warm welcome to the third International Congress here, and I'm very happy to be with you, for I've been invited to guide you through this session. And first of all, I want to thank all the organizers of this Congress, of this session especially. It's so wonderful organized. Thank you for doing this for us. Some regulations in advance before we start. We will start immediately, but there are some small rules. Your mics has been muted. You can ask questions after each presentation. We have some minutes for this. Please raise your questions in the chat, and Evgenia will help me to raise them to us all. For the speakers, I know this is not always funny, but you have about 10 minutes time for your presentation. I will have an eye on this, and I ask you to stay in time, to keep this time limit, that everybody has the possibility to speak. So thank you for this, for the time being, and I will start with just the program. My name is Renate Behrens, as you can read, and I'm coming from German National Library, and standardization, standards. This is my most important topic in my work life. I'm sitting in several committees for standardization. I'm the chair of IFLA Committee on Standards. I'm the European representative in the RDA Steering Committee. And so you can see standards is most important topic in my life. And I think for the rest of the speakers, it is as well. And I'm now happy to introduce our first presenter. This is Boris Loginov. He's the director of the Central Scientific Medical Library and Director General of the LibNet, National Information Library Center in Russia. And LibNet is a union catalog of Russian libraries with online cooperative cataloging. And that's his topic. And the floor is yours, Boris. Please share with us your presentation, and we are eager to hear you.
Спасибо, Рената. Я сейчас подключаю презентацию. Так, презентация видна?
Yes, we can see.
Видно презентацию? Очень хорошо. Да, время действительно отведено немного. Я очень постараюсь за это время рассказать опыт России по созданию системы корпоративной каталогизации, национальной системы корпоративной каталогизации. Специально двумя национальными библиотеками в 2001 году был создан центр LibNet для того, чтобы две цели преследовалось. Это первое – внедрить в практику тогда только созданный формат RusMark. До этого библиотеки не работали в едином формате, и это нужно было, так сказать, сделать через какую-то точку, через единую точку и с какими-то интересами. Но вот в качестве такого интереса для работы, для каталогизации в формате RusMark была создана такая система корпоративной каталогизации. Я не скрою, мы много изучали опыт работы OCLC, и нам очень это понравилось. И не только нам одним. Я знаю, что в Голландии был такой центр ПК, который работал точно так же по технологии OCLC. И мы тоже хотели создать такую же технологию в России. Именно, но только национального уровня. Да? Конечно, к нам могут присоединяться другие страны, но ориентировано было на российские библиотеки, у нас их больше 40 тысяч, Министерство культуры, а в общем объеме больше 100 тысяч библиотек. И как вторая задача это на базе этой корпоративной каталогизации создать сводный каталог библиотек России. Итак, у нас это получилось. Мы начали в 2001 году, через год было налажено программное обеспечение и создано ядро этого каталога из двух каталогов Российской национальной библиотеки и Российской государственной библиотеки. Он включал в себя 600 тысяч записей. Это было начало. А затем мы начали загружать сюда и создавать авторитетные данные, которые сопровождали процесс каталогизации. Ну, как вот общая схема работы центра. Значит, первым этапом вот система корпоративной каталогизации, вот этот блок. И в этом же блоке создавался единый авторитетный файл, которым пользовались библиотеки для каталогизации в этой среде. Схема была очень такая ясная и понятная. Все библиотеки могли каталогизировать свободно в этой среде формата Русмарк или Юнимарк. Таким образом, как только какая-то библиотека получала новую книгу или новый экземпляр, они обращались перед тем, как каталогизировать в своей системе, они обращались в сводный каталог, в систему корпоративной каталогизации. Если они находили запись, то они ее себе забирали и отмечали, автоматически отмечалось, что в этой библиотеке есть эта книга. А если не находилась книга, то тогда нужно было создать такую запись. Сначала вот в базе системы корпоративной каталогизации, используя при этом авторитетные файлы, которые изначально было из двух авторитетных файлов состоял. Это предметные рубрики Российской национальной библиотеки и русская версия медицинских предметных рубрик МЕЖ. Можно было пользоваться и той, и другим авторитетным файлом. Авторитетный файл национальной библиотеки, Российской национальной библиотеки, включал в себя 3 составляющие. Это записи на авторов, на имена лиц, записи на организации и записи на предметные рубрики. Значит, право каталогизировать в этой системе могли только сертифицированные каталогизаторы, то есть те каталогизаторы, которые были обучены работать в системе Русмарк. Это очень важно, особенно на первом этапе. Таких людей в регионах вообще не было, и нам приходилось это делать с нуля. То есть на первом этапе только заимствовали записи 2 национальных библиотек. То есть центр выступал в роли дистрибьютора записей для других библиотек и других организаций вообще, кто хотел пользоваться библиографическими записями. Вот, со временем проходило обучение. В основном это было, конечно, на базе Российской национальной библиотеки, в их учебном центре, потому что Русмарком, нашим национальным форматом владели специалисты Российской национальной библиотеки. И таким образом мы выступали в качестве организаторов этого обучения, привлекая, естественно, на базу Российской национальной библиотеки. Постепенно такое количество увеличилось сертифицированных. Да, я должен сказать, что обучение проходило в два этапа. Первый этап – это теоретическое изучение формата Русмарк, форматов, двух форматов. Формат для библиографических записей и формат для авторитетных записей и их взаимодействия. Сначала проходили курс на теоретическое обучение, а дальше уже практическое. Второй этап – это была сертификация, то есть практическая работа в среде системы корпоративной каталогизации. Проходило индивидуальное обучение каждого уже в этой среде. И таким образом закреплялись те теоретические знания, навыки, проверялось качество. За каждым библиографом закреплялся преподаватель, и он оценивал работу и делал соответствующие замечания и помогал, так сказать, осваивать этот механизм. Вот этот процесс длился полгода. Через полгода появился первый сертифицированный каталогизатор, который самостоятельно создал запись в общем каталоге. Это была победа. Вот сегодня сразу скажу, что таких каталогизаторов 300 по всей стране. Ну, с учетом того, что в Российской национальной библиотеке большое количество, естественно, автоматически сертифицированных специалистов. Таким образом, общее количество где-то около 400 специалистов сегодня в стране, которые вполне справляются с текущим потоком новых поступлений. По мере работы, создания, по мере каталогизации создавался такой каталог единый, ядро качественных описаний. И вот на сегодняшний момент это ядро составляет уже 13,7 миллиона записей. И этот каталог уже можно использовать в разных режимах и для ретроспективной каталогизации, и для текущей каталогизации. Региональные специалисты уже научились создавать не только библиографические записи, но и авторитетные записи. И сейчас существует отдельный фрагмент региональных библиотек, которые у нас насчитывают около 70 тысяч авторитетных записей. Следующим этапом развития, да, у меня уже осталось 1 минута или 2 минуты. Следующим этапом это была на базе вот этого ядра системы корпоративной каталогизации, качественной каталогизации, создать сводный каталог библиотек России путем загрузки уже полных каталогов из других библиотек. И таким образом на ядро наращивался другие каталоги, применялась система удаления дублетов, и таким образом вот получался сводный каталог библиотек России. Значит, в чем особенность очень важная, что вот этот уже сводный каталог, он помогал не только, вся эта система помогла не только создавать качественные библиографические описания, но и через сводный каталог делать навигацию тем библиотекам, которые участвовали в корпоративной каталогизации. Она и сейчас работает. Эта навигация позволяла увеличить обращаемость к уже каталогам участников. Это очень важный фактор. Очень важный фактор. Хочу особенно сказать 2 слова относительно стоимости, как вот этот вот была мотивация организовывался
1 minute
мотивация.
left for this.
Да, я заканчиваю. Ну, буквально это важно, потому что есть вопросы, почему в свободном участии, то есть заимствование, да, вот заимствование.
Yes, there is a question I see in the chat, but it is in Russian. Perhaps you can see.
Я закончил. Может быть, будут вопросы, я на вопрос тогда отвечу. Спасибо за внимание.
So
Спасибо.
please raise your question. Unmute your mic and raise your question. If not, somebody has to read.
Рената, есть вопрос, я могу его зачитать. Все ли виды документов представлены в LibNet, в частности, сериальные издания?
Все документы, которые каталогизируются, вообще каталогизируются, да, конечно, они все представлены в системе корпоративной каталогизации. Потому что технология, она общая на все виды документов. И карты, и ноты, и все, что угодно. Все, что предполагает каталогизировать Русмарк, а он предполагает каталогизировать все виды документов, поэтому да, конечно.
Есть еще один вопрос. Будут ли переданы записи в НКП?
Куда? В РКП?
НКП. Национальная книжная палата.
Вообще учредителями, да, нашего центра являются две национальные библиотеки, поэтому они могут решить этот вопрос коллегиально на учредительском совещании учредителей. Конечно, мы делаем этот ресурс для того, чтобы им пользовались. И, конечно, мы могли бы предоставлять его и бесплатно. Плата в данном случае играет роль мотивации участия. Это не способ получения прибыли какой-то коммерческой структуры. Нет. Он использовался для того, чтобы привлечь, так сказать, участников. Дело в том, что создавший одну запись, сам первый в системе корпоративной каталогизации, имел право получить 4 бесплатно. И многие региональные библиотеки так и поступали. Они каталогизировали первыми и обеспечивали за счет своей квоты бесплатную работу с каталогом всего региона. Так делали практически все. И делают, и продолжают делать. Так что это условная плата. Плата, конечно, несравненная с платой, которая в SLC есть. Она несравненна, в десятки раз меньше. Но она мотивация, это только мотивация, это не бизнес.
Борис Родионович, еще один вопрос к вам. Как соотносится этот ресурс, запускаемый цифровой национальной библиографической платформой?
Я не могу на этот вопрос ответить, потому что, казалось бы, естественно, этот ресурс должен быть использоваться в качестве ядра национального ресурса, потому что он уже давно работает, качество. Но это вопросы организационные, они решаются руководством. Как они будут решены, это зависит от них.
So, большое спасибо, Борис. Thank you very much for this insight. And I think we have to go ahead. And our next presenter is coming from Tehran, from Iran. It's Malihe Dorkosh, and she's the head of the Acquisition and Knowledge Organization department there. And she's the secretary of the Knowledge Organization Committee of the Iranian Library Association. So please let us hear Malihe. Malihe, we can't hear you. You have to unmute your mic, and perhaps you would like to share your presentation if you have. Perhaps if Evgenia, you can unmute her. Yes, I think it would be fine. So for the time being, we can't hear you, Malihe.
Павел, вы можете включить?
Yes, yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, it's fine now. It's fine. Wonderful. Thank you. So
Thank you.
please start.
Excuse me. Do you see my presentation?
The screen sharing is just starting, but I think it will work. You can start. Yes, we can see. You can start, please.
Title of my research is the effect of using cooperative authoritative file generation on the quality of bibliographic records. Both the production and use of the vocabulary accepted in the information storage and retrieval system are called authoritative file generation. Actually, in textual retrieval systems, accepted words make up the majority of access points. Vocabulary control is done to eliminate the deficiencies of natural language and helps to understand the relationships between concepts and remove ambiguity and polymorphisms of words. You know, vocabulary control has many benefits. These include the ease of searching the list, guiding searchers to other similar terms, and the ability to quickly change list identifiers. Besides that, authoritative file generation is a time-consuming and costly activity due to the need to carefully review the sources and record the decisions made. However, it should be noted that the cost and time spent on authoritative file generation is reimbursed at the time of data retrieval, because retrieval is more accurate and faster in systems that use authoritative file generation methods. Authoritative file generation in Iran began simultaneously in 1968 at the Library Services Center and the Central Library of the University of Tehran. The Library Services Center merged with the National Library of Iran in 1979, and the process of authoritative file generation continued at the National Library of Iran. After that, there is an independent section which professionally do the authoritative file generation. The foundation of authoritative file generation was laid in the Library Services Center by Puri Sultani, and the Central Library of Tehran, the Central Library of University of Tehran by Iraj Afshar. recently, a plan for cooperative authority file generation has been proposed and approved in the National Library of Iran, in which cooperative authority file generation is to be carried out under the supervision of the authority file generation department of National Library and with the participation of authority file librarians of large Iranian libraries, such as central libraries of universities. Therefore, this research was formed to obtain the opinions of knowledge organization experts from 13 large libraries and the National Library of Iran on cooperative authority file generation. And now let's talk about what are the attributes of cooperative authority file generation. In this research, I focus on 4 attributes of cooperative authority file generation. These are your use of values, methods of authority file generation of libraries, use of knowledge of authority file librarians of large libraries, uniformity of authority data by national library, use the participation of knowledge organization experts of large libraries. Also, I should mention similar projects such as NACO and SACO, Name Authority Cooperative Program and Subject Authority Cooperative Program that were managed by Library of Congress, and the GND Integrated Authority File that it is managed by German National Library. So, about methodology. The type of this research is applicable. Research tool is a self-made questionnaire. The number of knowledge organization experts in 13 large libraries and the National Library is 100 people. A questionnaire was sent to this expert, and in this questionnaire, the effect of each of the attributes of cooperative authority file generation on the quality of the bibliographic records was asked. Sampling was not done, and 87 experts answered to this question. Of the 87 respondents, 76 were female and 11 were male. The level of, according to the table and graph, and the level of education of 4 respondents was associate degree, and the level of education of 12 bachelor was bachelor degree, and 55 was Master of Arts, and 16 was PhD degree. It is shown in table and graph. To examine each of the 3 factors of quality, that means accuracy, correctness, and completeness of bibliographic records, 4 questions are considered. And first, it is, does cooperative authority file generation increase the accuracy of the bibliographic records? According to the responses of the respondents, to assess the effect of cooperative authority file generation on the accuracy of bibliographic records, 4 questions were asked. These questions, and because the value of the offering for all items related to the effect of cooperative authority file generation on the accuracy is greater than the value of T in the critical table, so the answer of this question can be acknowledged. And I can talk about that cooperative authority file generation increases the accuracy of the bibliographic records. After that, for second question, does cooperative authority file generation increase the correctness of the bibliographic records? According to the response and this table, the response of this question also acknowledged cooperative authority generation increase the correctness of the bibliographic records. And the last question is, does cooperative authority file generation increase the completeness of the bibliographic records? And the answer of this question also was acknowledged. Cooperative authority file generation increases the completeness of the bibliographic records. As the result, according to experts from 13 large libraries and National Library of Iran, cooperative authority file generation has a positive effect on the accuracy, correctness, and completeness of bibliographic records and increases them. By doing a cooperative authority file generation project, in addition to using the knowledge and expertise of knowledge organization experts in all important libraries in Iran, the time and cost of authority file generation in the National Library will be saved. In addition, it should be noted that there are information sources in important and old libraries of Iran, such as the Central Library of the University of Tehran, which are unique and rare. For this reason, authority file generation of the information of these rare sources can be a large step to familiarize Iranian and foreign libraries with rich information in Persian. And the last result, sharing the results of this project with the VIAF project and other authority data sharing projects will also help improve the quality of Persian bibliographic records in other libraries around the world. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Marie, and keeping time exactly, that's perfect. Thank you. Are there questions for Marie? I can't see anything in the chat. So thank you again, Marie, for this interesting insight of your work. So we can come to our next presentation. This is a co-production from Tatiana Garg and Elena Gretova, and the speaker will be Tatiana. She is Deputy Director of the Siberian Scientific Agricultural Library, and they as well would like to talk about authority file of headlines in the collective author title. And the presentation is here, we can see it. Thank you very much. Please start. Татьяна.
Спасибо, Рената. Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. С
сегодняшнем выступлении мы поделимся с вами своим опытом по созданию, ведению и многофункциональному использованию в автоматизированной библиотечной системе IRB-64 собственного авторитетного файла заголовков, содержащих наименование организации. Из всего многообразия формирование категории нормированных точек доступа для Сибирской научной сельскохозяйственной библиотеки как отраслевого регионального информационного центра наиболее актуальным является осуществление нормативного контроля наименований научных организаций и временных научных коллективов. Создание авторитетного файла СИБ-НСХБ предшествовала аналитическая работа по изучению основных нормативных документов, а также опыта Российской национальной библиотеки. Особо полезным для нас оказалось профессиональное общение с ведущими специалистами в этой области Татьяной Масхулией и Юлией Селивановой. Важным событием для СИБ-НСХБ стало и ее вхождение в 2001 году в Центр Либнет и участие в его проекте по машиночитаемой корпоративной каталогизации. В это же время СИБ-НСХБ на базе автоматизированной библиотечной системы IRBIS создала собственный авторитетный файл, который ведет уже в течение 20 лет в полном соответствии с российским коммуникативным форматом для авторитетных записей. Когда наши коллеги в 2007 году, это Центральная научная сельскохозяйственная библиотека в Москве, приступила к созданию своего авторитетного файла наименования организации, то мы начали сотрудничество в области обмена авторитетными данными. И ЦНСХБ в свой авторитетный файл включила наши 100 записей на наименование учреждения агропромышленного комплекса Сибирского региона. Дала высокую оценку нашим записям, и сейчас они находятся в ее базе данных, авторитетный файл наименований научных учреждений агропромышленного комплекса. Сотрудничество библиотек в области формирования и использования авторитетных файлов способствует, как нам кажется, выработке единых методических и технологических решений. Авторитетный файл СИБ-НСХБ представлен записями на заголовке постоянных и временных организаций на русском и основных европейских языках. Авторитетный файл заголовков, содержащих наименование организации, предназначен для выполнения функций формирования и выбора принятых заголовков через систему вариантных, параллельных и связанных, осуществления авторитетного контроля, создания и поддержания авторитетной записи с установлением ссылок, и обеспечение для пользователей, специалистов и читателей эффективной навигации в процессе поиска, подборе контролируемых поисковых терминов в электронном каталоге. В соответствии с методикой каталогизации СИБ-НСХБ сведения о коллективном авторе являются не факультативным, а обязательным элементом библиографической записи. Источником информации о коллективном авторе служит не только предписанный ГОСТом титульный лист, но и другие части текста издания, что позволяет максимально полно отражать публикации научных организаций. Основной набор сведений авторитетной записи включает официальное наименование организации, наименование, приведенное на титульном листе издания, наименование, входящее в заглавие, полную форму наименования, наиболее часто встречаемую форму, форму наименования, наиболее ясно передающую профиль деятельности, вид и тип организации, наиболее известную форму наименования в средствах массовой информации. Связи устанавливаются между различными вариантами наименования одной и той же организации и отражаются в виде ссылок от вариантной формы к принятой. В процессе создания и ведения авторитетного файла СИБ-НСХБ прежде всего была ориентирована на свою целевую аудиторию, представленную научными организациями сельскохозяйственного профиля Сибири, одновременно являющихся авторами научных публикаций, важнейшим источником комплектования фонда библиотеки малотиражными ведомственными изданиями и основными пользователями информационных ресурсов библиотеки. Авторитетные записи на эти организации, помимо обязательных сведений, содержат дополнительную информацию об истории создания организации, данные о реорганизации, данные об изменении организационно-правовой формы, формы наименования организации. В соответствии с международными принципами, российскими правилами каталогизации и методикой ведения авторитетного файла СИБ-НСХБ, каждое наименование организации, содержащее значимые изменения, рассматривается как новый объект, для которого необходимо составить новую авторитетную запись. До масштабной реформы науки в 2013 году в Российской Федерации нормативные записи в авторитетном файле СИБНСХБ создавались в основном на юридические лица. После объединения академий, передачи научных организаций в ведение Федерального агентства научных организаций, далее Министерства науки и высшего образования, были приняты методические решения, предусматривающие возможность формирования принятых заголовков как на организации, утратившие свою самостоятельность, так и вновь образованные научные центры, объединившие несколько научных организаций. Для отражения изменений, произошедших в процессе реорганизации, создаются авторитетные записи, содержащие наименование новой организации с обязательными связями с прежними наименованиями и с наименованиями организации, в состав которой они вошли. На экране вы видите пример авторитетной записи на укрупненную организацию Сибирский федеральный научный центр агробиотехнологий, объединивший 12 институтов, и также пример авторитетной записи на учреждение Сибирский физико-технический институт, вошедший в состав этого центра и потерявший свою юридическую самостоятельность и ставший только подразделением центра. В рамках исследования развития системы информационного обеспечения аграрной науки и образования Сибири с учетом изменений, происходящих в экономической, научной и информационной сфере, проведенного СИБНСХБ в 2017 году, был собран обширный массив данных о 32 научных организациях сельскохозяйственного профиля Сибири, ранее входивших в состав Сибирского отделения Российской академии наук. Он включал в себя сведения о статусе организации, основных направлениях научной деятельности, научных темах, включенных в государственное задание организации, а также выполняемых в рамках грантовых проектов и программ, о численности научных сотрудников, о наличии и в организации библиотеки или информационного подразделения. Было принято решение не создавать новую базу данных для ввода и структурирования полученных в ходе исследования сведений, а использовать существующий авторитетный файл, уже содержащий определенный набор данных о научных организациях. В связи с тем, что существующая структура авторитетного файла и набор полей в его рабочих листах не позволяли осуществлять ввод некоторой части полученных данных, был разработан и реализован специализированный технологический модуль SAP IRBIS 64. В технологическом модуле в форме каталогизатор для обеспечения ввода данных в авторитетный файл была создана новая вкладка «Расширенные сведения» со следующими полями: основные направления деятельности, научные темы, количество сотрудников, включая общие, в том числе академиков, член-корреспондентов, докторов наук, кандидатов наук, и наличие библиотеки или информационного подразделения. В 210-м поле авторитетной записи создано подполе «Массив для исследования» со специальной меткой, обеспечивающей возможность поиска и получения выходных форм для этой части. На экране вы видите интерфейс этого специализированного модуля, куда мы включили сведения, полученные в ходе исследования. Извините. В технологический модуль в форме каталогизатор создана технология поиска «Коллектив мероприятия плюс авторитетный файл» с использованием номера авторитетной записи, позволяющей провести поиск по актуальным и предыдущим наименованиям одного и того же коллективного автора в авторитетном файле в электронном каталоге СИБНСХБ. С этой целью в 510-х, 710-х полях под поле «Номер записи» каждой авторитетной записи, содержащей актуальные наименования организации, проставлены номера связанных с ней записей, содержащих предыдущие наименования этой организации. Анализ полученных данных показал, что в ходе научной реформы на территории Сибири из 32 научных организаций сельскохозяйственного профиля реорганизовано 28. В соответствии с планом структуризации научных организаций Федерального агентства научных организаций было предложено несколько форм объединений. Наши научные организации сельскохозяйственного профиля Сибири из предложенных форм объединений выбрали две: Федеральный научный центр и Федеральный исследовательский центр. Внутри центров 21 научная организация получила статус структурного подразделения и 7 обособленного структурного подразделения. В ходе научной реформы юридическую самостоятельность сохранила только 4 научные организации, расположенные в национальных округах и являющиеся единственными представителями научного направления по сельскому хозяйству в своем регионе. процессе исследования проводился сравнительный анализ имеющихся авторитетных записей на предмет их соответствия новым наименованиям и другим атрибутам региональных научных организаций сельскохозяйственного профиля, приобретенных ими в результате реформирования. В качестве источников информации использовались результаты анкетирования, официальные документы, сайты научных организаций, научные и справочные издания. В ходе исследования был проведен большой объем авторитетной работы, связанной с изменением наименований организаций и их правовых форм. В соответствии созданы записи на укрупненные организации и подразделения. Внесены дополнительные сведения в исторические справки о деятельности организации и указаны соответствующие источники информации. В специализированный технологический модуль были включены данные о выявленных научных темах по основным направлениям сельского хозяйства, о численности научных сотрудников с указанием ученой степени и звания, о наличии и состоянии библиотек или информационного подразделения в научных организациях. И в заключение мы можем сказать, массив данных, собранный в основной части авторитетного файла и его специализированном технологическом модуле, а также разработанная система выходных форм, сделали авторитетный файл СибНСХБ единым многофункциональным инструментом для каталогизации, поиска в информационных ресурсах и создания на его основе электронного справочника научных организаций сельскохозяйственного профиля Сибири. В условиях продолжающейся реорганизации, отсутствие административно-организационного центра, объединяющего научные организации по отраслевому признаку, СибНСХБ выполняет роль важнейшего звена в едином информационном пространстве аграрной науки Сибири, осуществляя информационную поддержку исследователей и продвижение их результатов. И значение в процессе этой работы только возрастает. И благодаря использованию авторитетного файла становится возможным введение учета, аккумулирование публикаций научной организации и сохранение преемственности ее достижений. Благодарю за внимание. Спасибо, Рената.
Thank you. Спасибо, Татьяна.
Реплику можно по поводу выступления?
Please.
Татьяна, очень хороший доклад, спасибо, очень полезная и ценная работа. Только единственное, у меня к вам просьба и замечание. Все-таки основные поля формата Русмарк менять нельзя. Если есть у вас какая-то дополнительная информация, для этого есть 9-й блок, и туда надо переносить всю дополнительную информацию. Потому что при обмене мы не скушаем ваши данные, просто контроль не пройдет ваши записи. Вот, а так прекрасно, спасибо большое.
Спасибо, Борис Родионович. Прежде чем мы учли ваши вот сейчас даже замечания в связи с тем, что мы в основные поля именно не вносили. Мы сделали дополнительную страницу, расширенные сведения, и поэтому нам кажется, это не повлияет при обмене записями.
Спасибо.
Вам спасибо.
Thank you, Tatiana, for the answer. And I think there is one more question in the chat.
Есть еще один вопрос. Татьяна Михайловна, скажите, использовать ваш материал для формирования коллабораций?
Я думаю, что да, возможно, и мы с удовольствием открыты для сотрудничества. Ты не включил звук.
That's fine. Thank you.
Забыл спросить, Татьяна, выгрузка в чистом Русмарке у вас есть авторитетных данных?
Да, есть.
Спасибо.
Thank you, Tatiana, for the presentation, for answering the questions. Thank you very much. Спасибо. And when you can unshare your screen, I think on the next one, then I can share my screen. So. I hope you can see it. It's fine for you? Okay, so let's start. And I will tell you a bit about standardization and standards in a changing world. As you know, libraries are in a transition phase. These two pictures just want to show you how different it was perhaps 100 or more years ago when you see these very not friendly looking custodian or librarian, the left side, and these open space which provides new libraries very often now, even if the buildings has changed and the surroundings has changed very much. We're talking nowadays about libraries as living spaces, co-working, learning topics, lifelong learning, and participation in sharing in cultural assets for everybody is important, has become important, because in former times, we don't have to forget, libraries had been restricted. So librarians are committed to their collections, preparing them for use in respect to the users. It's trivial, but it is still true. And so all models, principles, standards, or whatever you will call it, guidelines or whatever, has to adapt to this motto. This is not easy as it sounds. Times are changing, the more and more faster. Further technical developments keeps us running. Our tools often don't keep up with the changes fast enough when we're thinking of formats and things like this. We have good ideas and good projects and plans, but we have to treat with perhaps not the modernest tools or formats. Librarians, archivists, or museum professionals are often not well enough prepared for these changes. And last but not least, financial pressure may often hit us from many things we would like to do. But who are the players in the team when we are talking about new standards or providing new models or guidelines? These are informational professionals, really, but the administrative responsibles has to be at the table at the same time, because they give us money most often. Socially relevant groups like scientists, artists has to participate. And as I said, communities has changed, societies are changing. So we should hear about what sociologists, anthropologists, psychologists are saying when we are thinking about new standards for our institutions or for our work. So what is the genuine rule of standards? Standards help to put the world of things in order, but they cannot establish the order of things in the world. Keep this in mind, we will come back to this later. Who needs standards? Every community, even the really free ones, came at a point that they have to make agreements if they want to exchange information or to share content. All communities that have common goals and want to advance them have to make agreements and have to work out sort of guideline or standard. All communities that want to achieve sustainable results, because a standard who is not sustainable, there is no need of. And communities, institutions who are working out standards and they have to preserve them for the long time. What does this mean in practice? Standards are a community task. Standards should be interoperable with further communities and cultural circumstances like languages and scripts. This is a matter in an international surrounding. Standards should be clear and understandable. If you need a guideline that is bigger than the standard itself, then it makes no sense. And standards should always be up to date. Who are these communities who are talking about? This may be very different, and this is really heterogeneous. These may be national or language-based communities like the German-speaking countries, the Francophone, the Russian-speaking countries. But they may as well be resource-based, a community for old books or for manuscripts. They may be international bodies, like the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions. The IFLA is maybe simple interest groups, archives, museums, or they may be even institutional based, like a community of national libraries, for example. What should communities do to achieve better standards? The target group must be very clear for whom I will set up a new standard. There must be an organizational concept that is very much important. There must be responsible persons or institutions for the implementation. Sufficient human and financial resources must be available. It costs to set up and to work out standards. There must be sufficient communication about the project, and there must be a network in which the standard can be embedded. I will give you an example. For the German-speaking countries, this is a picture that will show you, a slide that will show you a bit the organizational structure that we are having. We have on top the Committee on Standards. We have several working groups under this Committee on Standards. And there we are talking, when we're talking about the working group for cataloging or for data formats, we're talking about libraries. These are library people who are working there. But if we are coming, and it was mentioned before, the common authority file that we are having.
I'm sorry, we could not see your slides. Only the third slide.
Okay, you cannot see the slide? But you see the former slides? Or you didn't see them at all?
I think it froze at some point.
Oh, I hope, does it again? It's better? No?
We just see the third one.
Okay. I don't know what.
Oh, yeah, now it's working.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to click on this screen. So once again, the picture here from the organizational structure, I'm sorry for this. You can see many working groups working on different topics. And when we see the special working groups on the right side, we are talking about many cultural institutions who are working here, colleagues from very different cultural institutions. And we have a platform for all working groups putting this together and have the communication and information about all these things and bring it together again. So I hope you can see. Can you see the next slide? If not, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, you can see it. So international standards, we are talking very much about this topic. Is this a myth or can it work? So there is, we have to admit, there is not one fits for all. But if we can work and if we try to have basic models, framework guidelines, if we have flexible formats for all this, and if we are talking to each other, then many communities can build up on these standards and they can become the more and more international. It's not easy, but it can work if we take into account these basic principles. Just a small example here of a standard who's working very well. It's from German-speaking countries. It's for literary archives and libraries as well. And it's very small. It has 35 pages, free, accessible. And this is in contrast to this is RDA, which is a huge standard with many rules, and you have to have application profiles and all these things. And we have, as a last example, we have the ISBD, which is a free, accessible, sustainable standard from IFLA, even for communities who are not able to have internet access and all these things. So the conclusion is that with various standards connected as far as possible, exchangeable with modern technical support and adaptable to the needs of different user communities, there may be more order in the world of our cultural heritage. So I thank you very much for this. I'm sorry that the slides were frozen, and I hope we can. There's something with my. If there are questions, please let me know. I try to unshare my screen. The whole screen is frozen. I'm sorry, but so I hope. So, are there questions? So, I think.
Рената, есть у меня вопрос. Вы перешли на RDA все библиотеки Германии?
Yes. More or less they do. There are public libraries, smaller public libraries, they don't use it or will start to use it later on, but most of all, German-speaking countries are using it. In Europe, in Western Europe, you can see British libraries, Scandinavian countries, German-speaking countries, Italy, France are using more or less in different contexts RDA, yes.
А какую систему вы используете для каталогизации в Германии?
We have, yes, unfortunately we have several in the German-speaking countries. We have several internal formats. That's not so nice. But for exchange, we are using Mark 21.
Спасибо, понятно.
It's clear? Okay. Thank you very much.
Renata,
yes.
There is one more question in English. Do you believe that the use of international models can lead to the global participation of libraries? I'm sorry.
I think so. Even I think it's very hard to achieve it, but we are on a way, and we can do our best. And even as I said, if there are flexible standardization like models or guidelines and adaptable to each other, and if we are talking to each other about this, and authority data and authority data files, we heard it today, and I think we will hear more about this. Are the first connecting point we are having and the best we are having for the time being. So I say yes. So I think, yes, this was the last question. Then we can go ahead with my colleague Flavia from Italy. Hi, Flavia. She's coming from the Central Institute for the Union Catalogue of Italian Libraries and for bibliographic information. She's a librarian in the Department of Cataloging Standards, Guidelines and Training. And her title, I think, is very impressive. The older, the better. So let us hear this young woman to this topic, the older, the better. Flavia, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'm trying to share my screen. So can you hear me?
Yes, it's fine.
And can you see the screen?
Yeah. We can see the screen.
Okay, so first of all, thank you. Thanks, Renata, for the introduction, and thanks for inviting us to this very interesting Congress. And I am here with you today on behalf of my director, Simonetta Buttò, to provide a brief introduction to the Union Catalogue of Italian Libraries, SBN, which is an acronym for our National Library Service, and also to share some news on its latest developments over the last few years. The idea of a Union Catalogue of Italian Libraries finds its roots in the history of our country, which, as many of you will know, is a history of fragmentation. These two maps shows the Italian states and how little they changed from the early modern age to the end of the 18th century. Italy became a united state, a kingdom, in 1861, and Rome became capital city only in 1871. As a result of this political fragmentation, there was no national library in Italy as in other European countries, such as France and the United Kingdom, with the role of collecting the national and international book production. But our book heritage was dispersed over several libraries all over the country, and to date, we still have 2 national central libraries, 7 national libraries, 26 state libraries, and 11 libraries of national monuments, or to say abbeys, just to mention libraries which are under the direct administration of the Ministry of Culture. The Registry of Italian Libraries, which we manage, ICU, registers a total of some 12,000 libraries. The idea of a union catalog, which would virtually, in a way, collect and put together all the book heritage dispersed over 12,000 Italian libraries, was born in 1951 already, with the creation of the Central Institute for the Union Catalog of Italian Libraries. So you see that in the name of the institute, there is this mission to create a union catalog. And this became reality in 1985 with the birth of the National Library Service, SPN. Our effort since then has been to provide a service infrastructure at the national level, which is open and technologically up to date, to promote cooperation among different types of institutions and provide a better open catalog to our users. Our catalog offers today some 19 million records of a variety of materials from the collection of 96 libraries connected through 103 nodes. Technically, indeed, SBN is a star network comprising an index at its core. Libraries are connected to the index through such nodes. This peculiar structure allows the decision about which data should be shared at the central level, which ones should be shared at the local level, which can be regional or thematic, for example, and which are represented by the nodes, and which ones are only useful for each library in performing their daily tasks, and therefore should be not shared to avoid congestion in the exchange of data. The mission of SBN over the last 35 years has been to encourage the cooperation between libraries, to enhance the exchange of data, and develop a shared framework for bibliographic description to help catalogers in performing cataloging tasks and to promote access to library resources all over Italy. Thanks to this cooperation and shared cataloging, each manifestation is described in SBN through one record. This means that each record describes one manifestation and should be only created once, avoiding the application of records for the same manifestation. And any item of the same manifestation will be then attached to that record. This allows us to speed up cataloging work, improve the quality of records according to cataloger skills, and at the same time, provide clean information to users. Besides SBN, ICU manages several databases, including the bibliography of 16th century Italian editions edit 16, and the survey of manuscripts held in Italian libraries Manus Online. These databases have been developed on the basis of different standards and data models and individually managed up to now, targeting different intended users. Due to the absence of central coordination and integrated development, there used to be no matching between records for the same resources in individual databases. According to our mission as a public institution, we need to encourage the use and reuse of open source software to promote interoperable technology, to ensure sustainability and duration over time, to provide a service infrastructure at the national level, which must be open and technologically up to date, and to promote cooperation between different types of institutions. Our priorities over the last 5 years have been accordingly focused on the promotion of open access technology and of reusing data, exporting our data in open formats, and the integration of bibliographic and digital data. In 2017, we started the project then to develop an integrated platform, which should be a crucial step forward to overcome the fragmentation which affected our databases to date. This new integrated search platform will provide a single access point to all the databases managed by the ICU, and such system integration will result in matching records in each OPAC, respectively, and in an integrated management of digital resources, eventually helping us to target our services more efficiently our intended audiences, and to make our databases appealing to a wider audience as well. We are now at the final stage for the development of this forthcoming new portal, which we named Alphabetica. The effort of individual libraries in providing data is still crucial within this framework. Therefore, we also embarked on the development of a new free web-based software for cataloging in SBN and providing library services through a cloud system, getting rid of periodical download of updates which were needed by our previous cataloging software, SBN Web. Through the developments, which are still in progress, we hope to overcome fragmentation, which affected our databases to date, to promote a combined access and use of bibliographic and digital data within the framework of our main institutional target, which is to save public money. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Flavia. Are there questions to our colleague? In the chat, I can see nothing. There is a hand raised. Valis. Please, go ahead. Ask your question. You have to unmute your mic, then we can hear you.
Все-таки, Флавия, какой все-таки формат вы используете как центр формат корпоративной каталогизации в центре? Unimark или Mark 21?
Unimark.
Спасибо.
Thanks. And we don't use RDA for the reason that since we started developing our system in the 80s, it was a custom built system, and now it will, I don't know, it's really difficult to adapt it to a different system. So we will see, but for the moment we decided that it's too much trouble to adapt SBN to RDA. So we will see what to do with that.
There's another question in the chat. Or it's not a question.
Чем-то он вас не устраивает? Почему надо искать другой вариант?
No, we do use Unimark, but we are also no, we are not leaving behind Unimark. We are also a member of the permanent Unimark committee, and we are actively contributing to that. So.
Okay, thank you for the questions. And at this point, I want to say a big thank to our translator. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's
yes.
so good to have you. Wonderful.
Рената, есть еще один вопрос. Вот адрес не успели зафиксировать? Вы не расширили вопрос, извините.
I can read it in the chat, but I cannot read it for you, sorry. Адрес не успели зафиксировать.
Адрес электронной почты.
From Flavia.
Mine? Okay, I can share it again.
Да, все верно. Адрес электронной почты Флавии. Просят.
I will put it in the chat.
In the chat. You can share it in the chat. Thank you, Flavia. Here it is. It goes.
Thank you. And any suggestion is welcome. Thank you. And question, of course.
Wonderful. Thank you all.
Thanks. Thank you.
So we go ahead, and with our voyage through the world, we are coming now to China, and we will hear Han Jiarui. She is has joined the Online Library Cataloging Center of the Chinese Acquisition and Cataloging Department of the National Library of China. And she will talk to us about corporate cataloging of the National Library of China. So Han Jiarui, I ask you to start, unmute your mic, and perhaps if you would like to share a presentation, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great honor to be here to give a speech. The topic is the situation and prospects of the cooperative cataloging of National Library of China. Since the establishment in 1997, the Online Library Cataloging Center of National Library of China has become the largest online library cataloging center in Chinese language regions. After more than 20 years of development, the Online Library Cataloging Center saves the cost and improves the quality of cataloging. The co-construction and sharing of bibliographic data can be promoted in China and even in Chinese regions through the support of network environment and cooperative cataloging system. Now, let me introduce the situation of the Online Library Cataloging Center. First of all, I will talk about the management structure and operation mode. In China, the management structure of Online Library Cataloging Center is center, branch center, member library, and has set up branches in 31 provincial level administrative regions across the country. Through the branches at all levels, center provides services, including user consultation, catalog, standard promotion, and other services in these regions. The center holds an every year working meeting to summarize the work achievements of the previous year, discuss the work contents of the next year, and the development plan of the center in the coming year with the member libraries of the branch center. As of March 2021, the center has more than 10 million CN Mark bibliographic data, more than 4 million Mark 21 bibliographic data, nearly 2 million name authority database, and 120,000 subject authority database. Every year, more than 600,000 items of bibliographic data are uploaded by libraries. For this purpose, the center hired 40 senior catalogers from 26 major public libraries across the country as the center's quality monitors, which are responsible for reviewing the uploaded data. The uploading qualification training is held regularly every year, where the catalogers who upload data to the center can be trained. After the training, catalogers who pass the assessment will be issued with uploading qualification certificates. Second of all, I will introduce the services of the online library cataloging center. Free bibliographic download service is available. Since 2011, the center has announced that it will provide free download service of bibliographic data in Chinese and foreign languages for domestic public library users, which including bibliographic data for over 30 different material designations. After the introduction of the free policy, the number of users has increased rapidly with a 5-fold increase in 10 years. By the time February 2021, the center has more than 4,000 members, which providing more than 10 million bibliographic data download services every year. According to the Chinese Library Yearbook, there are more than 3,200 public libraries at or above the county level in China. These libraries have a wide range of distribution, uneven level, and large collection gap. In order to begin to review the collection information of the national public libraries, we have built a bibliographic holding platform, actively collect bibliography and collection data of public libraries. At present, about 10 to 20 million bibliographic data are collected annually, which covers more than 800 libraries across the country. In order to integrate this bibliographic data and form a collection system, the center has also built a collection management and service platform, which has integrated more than 55 million collection data. This picture is a revealing effect of books in the holding platform. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce the prospect of the online library cataloging center. The resource organization method of the library has always been influenced by the development of computer technology. The popularization of computer and the internet led to the emergence of MARC in the 1960s. The emergence of an entity relation model and object-oriented design methods led to a proposal of the library model of the ladder system of Ferber, and linked data led to the emergence of BibFrame. In recent years, many libraries are using RDA rules for cataloging, and some libraries have released their own bibliographic association data according to BibFrame. By managing the data of corresponding field information of the library, the program, which is similar to Ferberization, is formed. However, there are still two problems that cannot be solved. The first problem is MARC data platform is not functional enough to promote the entity relation model. It can't be reviewed exactly. The cataloging system based on linked data has not appeared yet, and the underlying of modern emerging folio and ALMA are still cataloging data in the traditional sense. The second problem is the transformation of historical data is expensive. It is difficult to realize RDA or BibFrame in the future. To solve this problem, there should be an organization which has high quality bibliographic data, authority of data standards, and the ability to think from a national library perspective. This is the strength of the online library cataloging center. Therefore, we need to do the following work. The first is to partially implement the LRM entity relation model on the existing MARC platform. MARC data is flat. but there is some association between bibliographic and authority data. Let's use cooperative body and work as an example. How to build an RDA or LRM model based on the relationship between bib and bibliography and name authority. This model follows the statement of ICP, statement rules. The functions of the manifestation ontology are carried by the bibliographic data, and the ontology that needs suggestions is carried by the name authority, such as publisher. Secondly, based on the existing cataloging system, the interface scheme is designed to provide authority data service for libraries all over the country. The main solution is how to provide the above-mentioned name authority services for national libraries in order to achieve the purpose of overall bibliographic data conversation. The 1-to-4 interface includes data acquisition and data query, and mainly refers to the next generation Z39.50 protocol. That is the SRU protocol and VIAF's web service. However, only the 1-to-4 interface cannot realize the name authority control, so the 5-to-6 interface is designed. After the using the center's standard data, when data is changed and the user will be provided with data updates, the interface is still developing. To solve the problem of association and matching of the massive data of the users, we use the bibliographic data of the center to match the bibliographic data of other libraries. The matched data transfers the relationship between the bibliography of the center and the name authority to the member libraries. In order to quickly realize the user's data conversion work, after texting in the data with ISBN number, this work can complete about 70 to 75% of the data conversion work. So far in the development of libraries, the rules of metadata have transferred from card catalogs to machine-readable catalogs, and now we are undergoing a new transformation. In this transformation, if libraries do their own job individually, they can finish the job, but massive amounts of historical data will inevitably bring huge conversion costs. Therefore, in the future, this is necessary to gradually implement conversion of cataloging mode in semantic environment under the current cataloging environment, and reduce the conversion cost as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions for our Chinese colleagues? Okay, you can't see one.
Есть у меня вопрос, может быть, он очень простой.
Boris.
Скажите...
There are only interesting questions.
Sorry? Каталогизация в центре происходит в режиме онлайна? По какому принципу? Или загружаются туда данные, уже созданные в локальной системе?
The data can be made by local and can be uploaded by libraries across the country to the center. And all the and all the members of the center can download the data from the center. We use unique.
А в самом, на платформе самого центра можно каталогизировать? Как это делается в OCLC?
No, we not upload the OCLC. We union catalog in the China. We have a union catalog system. It's based on Alif system.
Can you catalog directly into the platform?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we have a catalog platform.
Okay, fine.
Не загружать, не загружать, а каталогизировать на платформе.
Yes, he said yes, they can.
Yes.
Yes.
We catalog all together. And
А почему не каталогизируют все вместе, а загружают из своих локальных систем? Что мешает использовать центральную платформу как единую систему каталогизации?
what?
Может быть, непонятный вопрос?
We use CMark. It's a part of Unimark. So if you want to upload the bibliography, you should
Sorry,
join
Unimark.
our training.
There should be some information.
So,
Я очень хорошо это понимаю. Китай большой, 1,5 миллиарда людей, их надо всех обучить каталогизации. Нам легче, у нас всего 150 миллионов, это не так много.
maybe. Yes, thank you to the colleagues in China. Thank you very much for giving us this information, for answering the questions. And yes, thank you so much. A hand is raised. Boris? Is there another question? No, just the hand was again raised. Sometimes you have to click again on the hand that it will vanish. So then I would propose that we go ahead.
Я только аплодировал. Я только аплодировал.
Yes, that's applause to everybody at this point. It's such a pity not being together and to applause. And oh, now I see many more hands now. Applause to everybody. Thank you so much for raising this up. So applause we will always have as well for our Canadian colleagues. Erika Bansky, she will speak to us, and Jennifer Browning as a co-author. Erika Bansky is the head of cataloging, metadata and digitization at Carleton University Library in Ottawa in Canada. And she talks to us, she researches with a focus on traditional and non-traditional metadata, in particular on metadata interoperability and access to electronic resources, and about identifiers. So we are eager to hear you. The floor is yours. Please, Erika.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes, and we can hear you very well.
Okay, so hello. It is very early here, 7 in the morning in Ottawa, but I'm happy to be with you. And I'm going to talk about metadata interoperability and access to e-resources with specific focus on the case of unique identifiers. So simply put, interoperability equals access. From Google search results to subscription-based journals, the internet universe is based on matching metadata elements to link or bring the seeker to relevant search results. Metadata interoperability is a key criterion for remote access to e-resources. While written language used as metadata or identifier has many limitations, the main ones being that there are so many languages and so many scripts. Numbers are universal language across the globe and across the World Wide Web. Numerical metadata have been adopted to serve as unique identifiers by scholarly communities, academic publishers, libraries, software providers, and other information institutions. They are used, among other things, to match a user query to relevant search results and library holdings, to link search results to full text and related metadata in different databases, to match records in data migration, and for data synchronization between different bibliographic databases. Issues arise around using one single unique identifier, usually an ISBN, ISSN, OCLC control number, as opposed to multiple identifiers or matching points. Our university library is a member of Collaborative Futures, which is a consortium of 16 university libraries in the province of Ontario. The consortium selected Ex Libris's Alma Primo Library Services platform and migrated bibliographic holdings, patron, and purchase records from their 16 individual ILSs to the new system. In my example, I will focus on the bibliographic records that were migrated and matched using a single unique identifier, the OCLC control number. You can see on the bottom of the screen examples of the OCLC control number in bibliographic records. They are present in the O35 field of the Mark 21 bib record. The subfield A has the valid OCLC number, and then there can be as many as needed subfield Zs, which have the obsolete or incorrect OCLC numbers. Ex Libris uses a matching algorithm based on one single unique identifier, and that's the OCLC number. So just a little bit about how to obtain OCLC numbers. A library has to be an OCLC member and catalog directly in the WorldCat database, or else submit its bibliographic records to WorldCat. Regular data synchronization is required between the library's bibliographic database and WorldCat to keep the databases in sync and to take care of new, merged, and deleted records. Data synchronization doesn't work for records that lack numerical identifiers, such as pre-1978 publications without ISBNs or ISSNs, or publications that have generic titles, such as annual report. These things cause record duplication, which is a known problem in WorldCat, and OCLC is always conducting data cleanup. What were the results of our migration? As I mentioned, records are matched on the OCLC number, but we discovered later on that the matching was not only happening on the valid OCLC number in subfield A, but also on the obsolete numbers from subfield Z. Records with OCLC control numbers that did not match an existing one became master records in the network zone. Records that matched got deleted in the process, and the library's holdings were attached to the network zone master record. When the master record was of lower quality than the matching record, the metadata of the incoming record were not merged or copied over, but simply deleted. There are currently numerous duplicates in the network zone, particularly records describing titles published pre-1978, many of them which are government documents. Another example is HathiTrust and its emergency temporary access service, which is used by Carleton University Library to provide access to resources that are inaccessible in its print collection due to the pandemic. The matching of metadata between HathiTrust and our local library LSP is based on OCLC control numbers, which causes its own set of issues, including full text access being blocked to titles that are included in the ETAS service because of a mismatch in OCLC record numbers. Further with examples is the case of knowledge bases. Our LSP includes a knowledge base called the ALMA Community Zone, where all our e-resources are activated and linked to full text collections hosted on vendor and publisher sites. The single use identifier used for matching user search results to full text resources is the ISSN, and in small number of cases, the ISBN. Issues arise with publishers and vendors using print ISSNs while the library uses e-ISSNs. Journal title changes and ISSN changes are often not encountered for by publishers. They use the last title format and the last ISSN number, even though the journal went through a number of changes. Another issue is that each vendor uses a different e-ISBN for an ebook on their platform. Bibliographic records rarely include a comprehensive list of e-ISBNs. And lastly, book chapter linking is still very problematic. To library discovery systems, library discovery layers work as single search systems like Google. Our consortium is using Ex Libris's Primo. Primo has its own central discovery index, a bibliographic database that combines the content of many online indexes, with the exception of indexes hosted by EBSCO, because they are a rival company. The metadata that the user is searching are a combination of MARC records, knowledge base records, and CDI records. Metadata matching fails more often than needed. And the conclusions, there are many moving pieces, all relying on metadata interoperability to connect the user to the full text of the e-resource that she or he is searching for. Matching on a single unique identifier limits access to e-resources. Multiple identifier matching is needed to enhance user success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Erika, for the presentation and the insight in your project. Thank you for participating so early in the morning. This is a challenge. Thank you. We have one hand raised. This is Boris. Is this a clapping hand or is it a question? I see more clapping hands applauding. Erika, it's your applause.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Это в Zoom аплодисменты означает.
Yes, it's the hand like this and this other one. Thank you. So I think we can come to the last speaker of this session. We got the notice that the last speaker announced is not able to participate. So we are happy that we can announce now our participant from Poland. It's Jakub Luboski. which I can welcome now. He is a PhD student at the Institute of Library and Information Science at the University of Wrocław in Poland. And he works in a special project, the Daria EU project, and it's about analysis the issues of biological communication, of terminology, standardization, knowledge organization systems, documentation, information sources, and they call it multifunctional communication. And we are happy now that we can communicate with you, Jakub. It's up to you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? And is it okay? Yeah?
Yes, it's okay. We can hear you.
So
Would you
nice.
like to share a screen?
And if I would like to ask if you see my presentation. Wait a moment. It should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it starts. We see it. Everything's fine. Thank you, Jakub.
Okay.
Your camera is off. But doesn't matter.
Okay, but I think the most important is presentation, so it could be without.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much once again. And dobro jutro, uważamy kolegi. My передаем горячий привет из Wrocławia. Welcome everyone. Greetings from Wrocław. Thank you for the invitation to the Congress. This is an honor for us to present the speech for such a noble ensemble of bibliographers. We are scientists from Poland, and we are working for the Institute of Library and Information Science at the University of Wrocław. At the same time, we are members of the Bibliographical Data Working Group, so we want to introduce activities that are being proceeded by this group. But the main goal of our presentation is to invite anyone who is willing to participate in our projects. Daria EU is an acronym of Digital Research Infrastructure for the Arts and Humanities. It is a network of people, information, content, methods, tools, and technologies useful to enhance and support digitally enabled research and teaching across the arts and humanities. This network integrates researchers and projects from across Europe, enabling transitional and transdisciplinary approaches. And the Bibliodata Working Group is the best example of it. This is a short list of topics that could be covered by the group. The first, data preparation for advanced research. For example, managing the adaptation of bibliographical data to data-driven research. The second, facilitating international data-based cooperation. For example, analysis of European bibliographical datasets. The third is methodological issues. How bibliographical data is created nowadays. The fourth, publishing bibliographies. How bibliographical data is published, online services and interfaces. The fifth, processing bibliographic metadata. For example, tools for data quality improvement. The sixth, remediation of bibliographical information. For example, how the robust resources of handwritten and printed bibliographies can be digitized and turned into structured data. And the last but not least, the seventh, development of user-oriented services. For example, how implemented services in response to the user's needs. Our working group began to form in May 2019, bringing together specialists from different countries. In September the same year, the group was officially approved by the Daria EU. The main goals of the group are to foster the development of cooperation between bibliographies and serve as a platform for knowledge exchange aimed at bringing together creators of bibliographical data, scholars interested in using those resources in data-driven research, and theorists of bibliography and documentation. Here we can see 3 dates when began the main projects of working group. The first, in November 2019 the project about the multilingual dictionary of types of documents. Second start in February 2020, the report about the bibliographical data landscape. And the newest one start in March this year. This is founding application in collaboration of humanities and social sciences in Europe program, which is acronym CHANCE. Because the last one is at the very beginning, we would like to say something more only about the two first projects, so about dictionary and the report. Multilingual encyclopedic dictionary of types of documents starts in 2020, and we established the list of entries for Polish language. The list contains 278 terms in 12 main classes, as you can see on the slide. The aim of this dictionary is to facilitate the exchange of bibliographical data between many languages in the scope of naming types of documents. This kind of dictionary, by preventing the incorrect equivalence of terms in the field of document types, will help in formulating correct oral and written presentations, descriptions of documents used in information resources, and their correct translations in bibliographical databases or digital libraries, where they are used as a search or selection criteria for materials. This project has an independent website you can visit to know more about the scientific basis and the rest facts about it, and you can find it then at website typesofdocuments.wordpress.com. The second project is a report and analysis of the bibliographical data landscape. This is a still growing paper. We have developed 50 pages so far, and there is still much to do. There we are describing bibliographical data in contemporary world from many sides, sometimes for the first time and in the unique perspective. This report is aimed at all the actors active in the humanistic bibliodata field, especially at the public sector stakeholders who could benefit from the report's insights and engage in collaboration to reach common goals. As you can see on the slide, the report consists of three main parts. First is introduction defining bibliographical data. What is bibliographic data? Data producers, usage, and users. The second is the analysis of the current bibliodata landscape. And here is the most important part with using public-private dimension and produce-use dimension. I will say a few words about it for a second. And the third part is the discussion of the main challenges that the current bibliodata landscape poses for public stakeholders. Bibliodata landscape is a dynamic ecosystem of multiple categories of stakeholders who produce, process, and use diverse bibliodata datasets and services. The authors of the report, so we, believe that the public bibliodata stakeholders in the humanities need to engage in a long-term effort to build a joint agenda, which would support the systematic solutions to the extensive work that is being done in the bibliographic data field by the public actors. We use two dimensions in order to organize the contemporary bibliodata landscape: the public-private dimension and the produce-use dimension, which appeared as a very useful axis for talking about changes in bibliodata nowadays. So, to sum up, now we are a group of 38 members from across Europe, but you would be more than welcome to join us and take part in our current projects or propose a new one. We have two heads of the Bibliodata Working Group. This is Tomasz Umerle from the Polish Academy of Sciences and Wojciech Malinek from the Czech Academy of Sciences. We hope that with this short presentation, we have encouraged some of you to take part in our work. It is very important for us to connect different members of the bibliographic community from different institutions, from different countries, with different experiences. Only this will allow us to study bibliodata from a sufficiently broad perspective. If you will feel that our working group is suitable for you, here are all ways to contact us. You can visit our Twitter or working group subpage at the daria.eu. And at the bottom of the slide are email addresses to Tomasz and Wojciech. We hope that we could collaborate soon with you together during current and future bibliographical data working group projects. Thank you. Spasiba большое za внимание.
Thank you so much for this impressive speech, Jakob, and this approach for communication. This is very important and interesting, and I can underline this. We have to talk to each other. That's the most important thing. Are there questions for Jakob?
There is one more question.
Excuse me, could you repeat the first question from the chat?
Яков, этот вопрос сняли. Я сейчас зачитаю второй вопрос. Как можно воспользоваться этими разработками, в частности, для разработки наших национальных стандартов?
Excuse me, I can't hear you. Could you tell it once again, or maybe type it on a chat in English? It could be easier for me.
Как можно воспользоваться этими разработками?
I think the question is going in the direction. What is the benefit for your institution?
For the group or for the institute in Wrocław?
I think for the institution in Wrocław.
So that working group, Bibliodata, is connecting more individual participants than institutions. So everyone is welcome to join the group, and it isn't necessary to connect it with some institutes or libraries' particular interests. Of course, it is possible, but Dorota Siwecka, Elżbieta Herden, and I, we are from the institute, but we are not representing the institute in this group. Our projects are our ideas, and of course, the Institute of Library and Information Sciences Wrocław is very happy that we're joining this group, but this is our independent idea.
Work, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think.
Будет ли ваш проект помогать в разработке наших национальных стандартов?
I think yes, but this needs some more details. And the best way would be to contact us by mail or by our website, because in our working group we have many specialists from bibliography science across the Europe. So every one of us could say something new about it and develop the national standards by it. But this is a very general question. And of course, it is possible to start a new project in our group, which will be helpful to make some new schemas or drafts for national or international standards.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So I see no further questions, and I
If I may.
Sorry? Yes. Hello, Dorota.
Hello. I would like also to add that I think that the project about the multilingual dictionary is quite interesting and important for the international society. Because even in Poland, we have some terminological issues connected with bibliographies and other data sets. And different people describe different kind of documents with different kind of terms. And it's always a problem to find the right publication, for example, in a database. Yeah. So I think that if we could create a really international and multilingual dictionary that can help us also to translate the terms from one language to another, and it also gives us some definition of the terms.
And for standards being really international, we need multilingualism. That's the experience I made in my professional life, especially coming from Europe, from a region where we have so many languages and we have to take them into account. We have respect to them, we want to keep them. And so multilingualism and projects bringing this forward is essential for really internationalization processes of standardization. I think that's what I can say privately. Okay, it's time to say goodbye. It's time to say thank you, huge and big thank you to all of you for participating all around the world, even it's morning, evening, or whatever it is, and for sharing your interesting projects, your thoughts and approaches with us all. This is very important and it's always effective, and even in this virtual version, it's good for us. We can learn from each other. So I wish you all much motivation and courage to bring your projects forward. And we wish us all that we can meet one time in person again, not so far away, perhaps. I'm eager to meet you wherever it may be. And I wish you all the best. Take care. And I say goodbye all around the world. You can skip on your camera and so we can wave.
Good enough there.
So bye and thank you all. I'm eager to meet you sometime. Bye.
Bye.